What's New is actually going to be the first week of our list. So we're looking at the week of the 5th, of course, this week. What came out this week, of course, Joe, DC, you had a few books that you wanted to hit on. And before you do that, we have Dark Knights of Steel 3 by Tom Taylor, of course, the winner of the TLDR Writer of the Year, which is the Stan Lee Award. We got Suicide Squad 11, Justice League Incarnate 3, Arkham City, The Order of the World 4, Joker Presents Puzzle Box 6, the final issue of Crush Lobo, that's the 8th issue, Soul Plumber 4, and World of Krypton 2. But then you had 3 that you wanted to hit on at length.
Yeah, I'll start with we'll just start with Tom Taylor here and Superman, Son of Kal-El. Again, this is just I don't even think we mentioned this book last week when we gave him the award. All the awesome books he's writing.
It's like a footnote, yeah, I think.
Yeah, and it's just so good because he's really turned John Kent into a fascinating character, and it's just beyond. I know it was a big to do about making John Kent bisexual and
made headlines. I mean, he was on like CNN and shit, I think.
Yeah, and it was an important issue. It's a huge thing, but
we're like ignoring it like crazy. Anyways,
but it's not like that's become like what the book is about, right? The character of John Kent, as Tom Taylor is writing him, is very layered, very complex, very strong, and the story that goes around it is absolutely fantastic. So I've been enjoying the hell out of that. Batman 119. Joshua Williamson is now writing it. His first issue was okay, but I think it was a tough thing because you had to transition from Fear State, from Tynan, and so his this next issue 119 much better. Nice. Pretty engaging story involving Lex Luthor. So I
like that a lot.
I'm going to keep reading that one. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going.
Like that.
But Detective Comics,
terrible news that we got from that.
Well, Detective Comics 1047. I did not know at the time that 1046 came out that it was Dan Moore's last issue.
That's a kick in the pants right there, if there ever was one.
It's a kick in the pants, but you know what, Dan Moore, we know he's off to bigger and better things. I mean, him and Mariko Tamaki have been a tremendous tag team, and they've done a great job with Detective Comics over the past year. They did a great job with Dark Detective, and so
good.
I can't remember. I meant to write down who the new artist is. Very good. I mean, Dan Moore has got a very distinct look and a very distinct style in how he does it.
Right.
And the new artist, and I apologize for not knowing his name off the top of my head though. Isn't, it doesn't look like Dan Moore's art, but it's close enough where it doesn't detract. You know what I mean? It's not like a completely different art style, a completely different look. It's in the same ballpark, if you will, if that makes sense. And so what I'll say about this is that I'm bummed that Dan Moore is off the book, but I know that Ivan Reese, thank you. Great artist. And he does a really good job here. And what I'm afraid of next.
I hate that though, dude. That's the big, that to me is the big, before you continue forward, I apologize. The biggest thing for me was, I think I've never been more upset than when they took Dexter Soy off of Red Hood. And I understand, he was doing like Batman and the Outsiders, and he's done other stuff, but that is a guy who's criminally underutilized, in my opinion, at least. He's one of my favorites in the business, period. And he should be doing some more indie stuff because he could tell some, like, he could really sell some books. Like if he goes and does some stuff like an Image book with somebody, like pick him up because that guy is too talented. And when they took him off Red Hood, man, I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it was a kick in the pants, but Ivan Reese does a really good job. And Detective Comics is one of those books too, where like it's a stepping stone, right? Like it's just going to lead. And so what I'm fearful about next is that Mariko Tamaki gets poached or moves on, because the story that they've been telling over the past year, and the story they're telling now, is she is a phenomenal writer. She is going to do big things. And what Detective Comics is right now is it's really a Bat Family story. You're getting a lot of Oracle, Huntress, a lot of the Robins involved, all of background, right?
That.
It's It is awesome. And I was thinking this earlier. What I would love to see is Mariko Tamaki getting her own title and having it be an Oracle title.
Ooh, okay.
She's done so well with that character and the way she, the way she writes. Period. She's very. Uh, it's such great storytelling. I'm having a hard time sort of describing it, but like again, it's a page turner. Her pacing is perfect. There's great
Hmm.
action. There's great mystery. There's just the way it's constructed. I can't say enough good things about her, and I really do hope that eventually she moves off Detective Comics and gets her own title. And I
Hmm.
would love to see her do either an Oracle or a Bat Family type story, because she, like Tom Taylor gets Nightwing, and Zdarsky gets Daredevil. I think she understands some of these smaller characters and weaves a really good story with them.
The Bat Family is like there's so much talent there in terms of just
Yeah.
digging in, because I mean, just you deal with Bruce Wayne long enough. It's like there's, I mean, look at what's happening with Robin too, right? You're loving that series too. That's Williamson, of course,
Yeah.
and you've really enjoyed that. Who fucking knew you'd like a story that's primarily about Damian Wayne?
I know,
Um,
right?
never would have guessed that. I would love to see a Damian Wayne and Jason Todd story. Like whenever they've crossed paths, I've enjoyed it because they're both pains in the asses for
Oh,
sure.
that's oil and vinegar right there.
Oh, I would love to see a series. That would be awesome. But with Tamaki too, the thing that like with writers versus artists, like I can't believe Dan Moore did that. I know he only did it for like it was a year, right? Of between
Yeah.
Dark Detective and Detective Comics, but that, and then you're doing Once in Future. Like you don't see many artists do 2 books at a time.
Yeah.
It's just too much.
Yeah.
You can do
And
covers.
covers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He turns out like, I mean, he's doing all the Power Rangers covers, or at
Yeah.
least variants for that shit. So I mean, Power Rangers universe. Dan Moore is
Yeah.
doing the covers for that. So that he's a busy man. But the thing is with writers, look at Tom Taylor, right? I mean, he does Dark Knights of Steel, and Son of Kal-El. We barely mentioned both of those books
Yeah.
actually.
Did
In
you
our
read Dark Knights of Steel?
what?
Did you read Dark
I
Knights of
didn't
Steel
read
this week?
it this week. No, no. I heard it was really
The
good. I know
fuck you doing?
I was reading all the Image stuff and reviewing
Pause the
those things.
show. We'll come back in 15 minutes so Nicholas can do his fucking homework.
Oh, well, let's move on to Marvel because I actually read some stuff there. Why don't you run us? Yeah, we got a few things to run down here. Why don't you run us through what came out from Marvel, though?
So Amazing Spider-Man number 84, Thor 20, Defenders number 5, Marvel's number 7, Captain America Iron Man number 2. We had X-Men number 6, which was fantastic. Inferno number 4. And the last one, Nicholas?
Did you say Shang-Chi? Shang-Chi? Excuse me.
Oh, Shang-Chi number 7. Jesus Christ,
Yes.
Joseph. Yes.
Which you're reading. But
Yes.
yeah, Inferno, I did not get a chance to read this. I will definitely report back in catching up next episode. Or yeah, no, we're still gonna have that next episode. But Black Widow 13. This has been on pause for a while. And I at one point like just seen an image and I was like, wait a minute. Did this stop at 12? But it's like, no, we see the living blade at the end of that issue, and it was a big deal for Black Widow. This entire issue is a flashback. And this is one of those series that moves at a very, very brisk pace. So I knew I was going to be able to get this in before the show. Because again, we got Marvel so late this week, but I wanted to look at this or Inferno. Knew this was going to be quicker. And man, like it was awesome. And just like building up this Living Blade character and how tough of a fighter this character is, the action. And what I've loved so much about the Black Widow series is we always get a spread of her. It's basically like a page
wait, what?
Like can you not act like you're 5 years old for 2 seconds on this show? Really? Are you kidding me? Although I'd be kind of disturbed if a 5-year-old knew what you were referring to when you say spread. But anyways, we get a spread that is like what we see in Nightwing 87, where it's just a bunch of action panels, a little bit bigger, not like her and the other characters are a little bit bigger in Black Widow than we see in that Nightwing 87 issue. And I love that, man, where it's just like 5 images of her doing action sequences. And it's just so well done. It's so clean. So the artwork in that series has been great. And I really enjoyed this. So I talked about Black Widow a little while back. That was the Eisner Award winner for best series in, was it 2020, I guess,
Yep.
right? Best new series in 2020, beating out Philadelphia, beating out Tynan's, was it Department of Truth and
Something is killing children.
Something's Killing the Children. And man, like I mean, I love those other ones. I've read some things, some things, Killing the Children. I haven't finished or caught up completely. And I've read, obviously, I'm caught up on Philadelphia, but I may like those a little bit more. But Black Widow is still really good. Like I read that right when we were watching when the movie came out, and I was like, oh, like I like the movie, but she's even better in this series. I want more Black Widow stuff. So, and Yelena's in this series too. Not this issue, but the Living Blade, not to be messed around with. That's for damn sure. We also got a couple first issues. Darkhold Omega issue 1 by Steve Orlando. Wastelanders Doom issue 1 by Torin Grunbeck. I might read this one. I'm not certain. I got to some of this stuff I haven't read. Like I didn't read the Star-Lord because I haven't read Old Man Star-Lord. I liked the Hawkeye one a lot. Wolverine one was a lot left to be desired. So we'll see about Doom. You also got the first issue of Elektra, Black, White, and Blood. I read the first story in there. I'm going to go back and read the other two. It was by Charles Soule. Quality. Like this stuff they've been doing a really good job with these, with some of these legacy characters who maybe been underutilized over the year, and like Carnage, and now Elektra. We've seen it with Wolverine, obviously plenty of Wolverine stories in Deadpool, but for them, it's like, okay, this is a tool for people who haven't read the character a lot, and these are little quick one-off stories, just in between shit that happened throughout the character's history. So I'm very much in on this series. Are you going to be reading this or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna check this out. I think she's a great character to do this for because, like, with Wolverine, with Carnage, like Deadpool, like we know how vicious and violent those characters are, and Elektra is the same way, but very different, right? She's very calculating, because she's an assassin, and I think this could be a really great character study for her doing a bunch of stories like this, because I think the writers could have a lot of fun. Just sort of mixing it up, and I'm all for more Elektra.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I loved her in the Daredevil series. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I forget the actress' name, but she was outstanding. And I mean, the person we have to thank though for this character's success, or at least getting this series, I would think, is Chip Zdarsky, because she put on, the Daredevil costume, which we need that action figure. So Chip, you're listening. We talked to you about it on the interview. Get that shit done. Like they're listening to you. You have their ear at Marvel. Get it done, please. Need that. I will buy. I've been thinking about buying like the regular Elektra, like with the regular the classic outfit, the head, the bandana, and everything. I like that, but I'd much rather have that Daredevil one. That's
Oh
sick.
my God, she's the way that Mark Chechio drew her, and just the way she looked with the costume on, it was fucking next level. It was
Yeah,
awesome shit.
freaking badass, and she's getting her own series. We'll talk about that more a little bit later in the solicit. From Boom this week, we got Buffy 33, Magic the Gathering 10, and Buckhead 2, as well as Basilisk 6. The first trade came out last week. They're doing four issues for that with Boom. They've been doing that. We've talked about that with Mighty Morphin a while back. Awesome issue. Really, this series is. It doesn't get the love from me now like it did, like because of Lucky Devil and because of the last book you'll ever read. That is the only reason. It is still a kick-ass series. I think there was one issue where I was like, it was just a little bit too convoluted for me. It just felt a little off, I think. But either way, like I still really like this series a lot. And like the 5th issue, the 6th issue, this one that came out this week, really awesome. So we'll pick up that trade. It just came out. If your local comic shop doesn't have it now, like if it's out of stock, they should be able to order you a new one because brand new. So I really enjoyed this series. You're still in on this, right?
Yeah, I just have to read issue 5, right?
Gotcha.
And with the trade out, don't forget, to check out Nick's recommendation of Hoopla. It might be up there soon.
That's a good point.
Could be on there, but definitely, yeah, I can't wait to read this. I meant to read issue 5. I got so sucked up by Saga, like trying to read anything else like up until last night just wasn't happening.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I hear that completely. What about the books that came out from Image this week?
I can't. 2020's just start. 2022 has just started, and I'm already 20 plus deep, and like Image is already miles ahead of everyone else.
Of course.
But we had Two Moons number 8, Hellcop number 3, A Thing Called Truth number 3, Nita Hawes Nightmare Blog number 3. Of course, we've been talking about this book at length. Check out our interview with Rodney Barnes. That was, we're talking about great interviews. That was another great interview we did.
Yeah.
We absolutely love this series. But Ordinary Gods, number 6.
Oh, man. Oh, so I reviewed 3 Image books. We'll talk about the third one in a second, but I reviewed 3 books for Geeks Worldwide this week. Nita Hawes' Nightmare Blog got the highest grade of the 3. I love this series. Freaking outstanding. We're all caught up now. We should talk to Rodney about getting a couple issues in advance because I like to be ahead of everybody, but we usually are anyways week to week. We get the review copies on Fridays, but Ordinary Gods had the best ending to single issue this week, no questions asked. Like Black Widows was an awesome book. Nita Hawes was outstanding, but man, like it was just I think in my review I said it was a slap in the face because what's that. Are you caught up? Did you get to read this one?
I read this. Yep.
Okay, so all right, without talking directly about what was said and seen in the final panel, did that thought cross your mind that was going to happen?
No.
Like they're going to this?
No, it didn't. And
thank you.
This is one of those series where I have to reread it because we've had some, there's been some time between. I mean, we read the first 3 issues all at once. And then when we interviewed Kyle Higgins, he gave us 2 more issues. So like there's been a long time. So like, and this book does gets into the weeds a bit, right? So like I need to I think to fully appreciate the ending. I need to reread it again. Hold on. Violet, what did you think about Ordinary Gods number 6?
Oh, yes. Need her to weigh in. Yeah. If not, we can get a little My Little Pony take. I'm fine with that.
Did I get you a new My Little Pony comic? I got you one the other week.
Wow. You didn't read it, Violet? Oh, no, she's getting shy again. Come on.
Can you say goodnight?
Good night. There we go.
See you in the morning, kiddo.
That was the highlight of the show. What did she say?
She said good night.
Oh.
Goodbye.
Bye. She's doing a Mac impression.
She is. But yeah, it's a really, really good story. But this is one of those books that really benefits from being able to like get your hands on the trade or collect them all and read it all together, because that time in between, I found this to be the case with Die sometimes, right? Like there was definitely lags in between issues, and then you kind of forget what happened the issue before, and so like some of the punch, I definitely didn't see it coming, but I spent most of the book going, oh wait, what the fuck? Okay, and I had to kind of keep trying to like rack my brain about what happened. So I definitely loved it. I mean, Ordinary Gods is fantastic, but I definitely need to read, like, just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, boom.
I think that's fair. I think there is like Die. Actually, they're similar in the sense of you're building a new world. Like you're introducing us to this whole new concept, and it's a pretty grand concept.
Oh yeah.
And in that first issue, it's a lot, but like it all works, it all fits, and it's a very interesting concept. Believe it or not, I actually sold Lauren on it. She's going to read the first arc of the series, and it's and she's been reading more comics, but like not everything like that I sell her on. That's one of them. Philadelphia, of course.
The fact you sold her on you is amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Anyways, I'm good. I guess I'm good at what I do. But no, seriously,
5 minutes at a time.
But anyways, but yeah, with Ordinary Gods, the concept of it, and this is not really spoiling anything. You're going to find this out in the first issue, but there are gods from this other world, and Earth is turned into is their prison, and they're like certain people like are these gods reincarnate, but the people don't like that is a whole, I don't want to go further than that. We'll leave it at that. But it's a prison for these people. And the end of the first issue too, of course, is just like a what the fuck moment. But I'm glad you felt the same way as me at the end of the 6th issue, because it's like, I felt like I didn't feel like I was lost as much as you. There were times that was dense in the 4th or the 5th issue, but I was still like, I never thought of that. And it's like an oh shit moment for sure.
You know what I really enjoyed was at the very end, the main character, you get like school reports from him, like or about him as he's kind of going through like the different phases of school. And I don't know why I wasn't gonna read those at first. I was like, but no, I went back and I kept reading them. Those were a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, Kyle Higgins, we had him on a while back. You guys can go listen to that interview. Talked about Radiant Black with him and Power Rangers too. Oh my god, He and I could have geeked out about Power Rangers, I think, for quite a while longer. Around an hour, because man, that guy's a big Power Rangers fan. Of course, introduced us to Lord Draken, who is now my favorite Power Ranger character. Period. But another book that came out from Images was I think this is a one shot. I'm not certain. I'm a little confused because we get like a part one in the first few pages of the issue, but the Noctera Blacktop Bill special, not labeled as a number one, but we find like it says part one in like on the 5th page. The first 4 pages, though, it's like it's taking you in one direction. Like, okay, this is cool, like interesting, and then it's like, nope, you're gonna pull you in another direction. And so the story itself to me was outstanding. I think I gave that's part of my grade. I gave that a 9.5. The art, I gave it an 8.5 because it's not my favorite, but I thought it fit the tone of the story. But for you, this was a big hang up.
Yeah, let me give the people the synopsis first, and then we'll dive into it. So, behold the book of Blacktop Bill in the wake of the first arc's explosive finale. The origin of Noctera's most terrifying creature will at last be revealed in the special one-shot issue. So, I don't know what's going on there. Witness though, I think what it means by chapter 1 is that when we had Scott on, we talked about it. When we talked about this, I think he's doing a bunch of different one-offs. So maybe each one of those one-offs will be a different chapter.
Oh, okay.
So I was looking forward to this, and I remember when we talked to him about it, I was very excited because Blacktop Bill is one of those villains that is menacing. He's sort of like Null. He's like in the fact that he's always sort of one step ahead.
Right? Yeah, and he's your background today too.
He's my background.
Yep.
Fucking love that. That is awesome.
Sheldon Bucher.
Yep. And so like I was really looking forward to this, and it's not that I didn't like it. I thought the story was very good. The art definitely took me out of it a little bit because this is that instance where I was talking about before with Detective Comics. Like you go from Dan Moore to Ivan Rice, and the art's in the same ballpark. So while it's not as clean, as crisp, as as stylized as Dan Moore's art, it was still really, really good. It did.
This was very different than Tony Daniels' work.
Yeah, this was almost a 180. It was a 180, to be honest with you. And that's not to say that the art was bad, but like when you read Noctera, there's like
Tony Daniels
looks and feels
just real clean.
He is very clean. And so this was definitely grittier art. And I don't have a problem with gritty art, but like there was just something about the art that took away from me a little bit. And I don't know, I think I was expecting a little bit more. Maybe it's because it took, like you said, it sort of took you one direction and then it veered in the complete opposite direction and quickly. And I think it was kind of interesting the way that they took it, but I think for me, I was hoping for something more twisted, if that makes sense.
That's fair. That's fair. I still think it's pretty twisted by the end of it. But
because this had American Psycho vibes to it, and I wanted more. I don't know. I wanted something a little bit more emotional. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? Like, like to be that evil, like that we get from what we see in the first arc of Noctera. I was expecting a more sort of emotional roller coaster to get from point A to point B.
See, I felt like this was
makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I felt like this started out. We thought it was going to be American Psycho, and then we find out like no, this is like kind of like Carnage. Like there's like but I don't want to spoil it for people, but the art I can understand. Like in my review, I legitimately said like it threw me off at first. I was not at all ready for that shit. I mean, I didn't expect Tony Daniel to do this. Obviously Scott had tweeted out like who the artist was and everything on it the day before when it came out and everything prior to the comics release. But it was very gritty. It was very raw. I felt like unrefined to be a way, and that's fine. Like we read stuff like that all the time, and if as long as it fits the tone of the story, we don't usually care. And with something like this, I can understand how you would say like, no, it doesn't fit Noctera because of what Tony Daniel's been doing the whole time. But this is a Blacktop Bill story, and as we learn about the character, we already knew he was kind of an asshole, and we learn more like he's even worse than we thought. To me, it's like, yeah, this should be kind of like the art should be a little unsettling because he is a very, very unsettling individual, and it seems like he's always been like that to
Yeah.
some extent. I would honestly love to learn more about his character. It feels like
I wish this was more than a one shot.
Yeah,
You know,
I would like going farther back with him, honestly.
well, yeah, and like I said, I think just my expectation was I was expecting more of an emotional, or a more emotional sort of cause for his turn or why he
Mm,
became the way he is, and this is definitely something that deserves a 3, maybe 4 issue mini arc. Just
mm.
boom, like because I think you could go back a little bit further, and then you could sort of take it up, close to closer to where Noctera actually begins.
Yeah.
And for me, it was very solid, but definitely wasn't my favorite book of the week.
Noctera, yeah, and I can understand that. It wasn't necessarily mine either. I liked it a lot, but it wasn't my favorite. But Noctera is a book too, like a very important book to our show,
Yeah,
and we didn't talk about it a whole hell of a lot on in the annual. But I mean, that's another book that we really enjoyed from last year. It was just that like when you look at like Image, it's like there's so many awesome books there. Like never mind, there was a lot of awesome books from elsewhere, but like from Image alone, and it's like Noctera is another one that did kick ass. But it's like
we could do we could do an entire episode of just Scott Snyder books from 2021.
yeah, yeah, oh for
You
sure.
know,
I mean, obviously
and we
we
pretty
spent
much will.
yeah. We did a whole
In a
episode
couple
on
months.
his comicsology ones.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and we're gonna do another one. So yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah,
right. Yeah, when I get the third issue, I don't know what happened
next week I think we'll
with
get to
what
it.
was it? We Have Demons.
Yeah,
Oh, you saw that? Okay, good. I didn't see a tweet. To round out Image for this week, Monkey Meat issue 1 came out by Junie Ba, which Joe and I did get some early access to that one, and it's just I read the first issue and I kind of get it, but I kind of also don't. So it was a little confusing for me. The art was definitely different. She's actually Junie Ba is the artist, which I do respect that. Like when you're the artist and the writer, Mirka Andolfo does that quite a bit. That carries a lot of weight for me. And I want to give stories like that a little like more leeway if I'm maybe at first not totally bought in, but for me it's just like I just don't. It didn't hit home for me. I guess is what it comes down. It didn't work for me.
yeah,
That's
it
all.
was a little too offbeat for me, and I
Yeah.
love offbeat, but this was just a little. I'm not the person that this comic book is for.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't even know who. I'm not entirely sure who it's for either, to be honest. But that's always that's a problem. Like we have those moments where we know it's not for us, and we know we kind of can gather who it's for. And even then, we still like plenty of books that aren't written for us because we want to hear
Yeah,
different stories. It's like usually, I guess, when it's like a really younger audience, I guess is where we have more issue. But I
yeah,
don't
but
know
this
who this.
wasn't the case. This was
Yeah,
just
no,
again best way to describe it. It's offbeat, and
yeah.
if you enjoy that, then this book is probably right up your alley.
We move over to Skybound for this week, and we got Walking Dead Deluxe issue 30, and then Redneck issue 32, which you talked about a while back. With the one thing that I think the one episode we didn't have on Twitch because I think they didn't like that we had Redneck in the headline.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
it
Yeah, that's
was like
got to
a
be it. Yeah.
malfunction, but it was weird. From Dark Horse, Hellboy Bones of Giants issue 3, and then Apache Delivery Service issue 1 from Matt Kint. So no Keanu, so it's guaranteed that it's going to be back to normal Matt Kint. Oh, that book got a lot. I still don't understand how Berserker got so much love last year.
Keanu Reeves. That's the only reason.
It's got to
People
be
kissing his ass.
AWA. We got Marjorie Finnegan issue 8, and we got a little confusion on Not All Robots. I think that came out last week. I actually did catch up on that one, and like it was a good 5th issue, but there's just so confusing about the series. It's like, is it going to be a short thing, or like is it a 5-issue thing, or is it going to go beyond this? It's going beyond this, but I just want to know when was that change in direction because we weren't notified of it, and it felt like you weren't going to. We said like you're not going to be able to land this plane after. I don't know. I think it was the 3rd issue. We kind of started to feel like there was a problem. But knowing now it's going to keep going. Okay, a lot of things make more sense. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this. I'm definitely going to read into the second arc because it's a quality end to the arc. And looking back on it all, it's all a lot makes more sense. But it's just this was like we were told when this was announced, this is going to be a 5-issue series. That's not what it is. That's cool, but it's just you don't run into that same issue with once in
It
future.
changes the way how you read it,
Yeah,
and
sure.
because it would have taken away the how are they going to land this plane,
Yeah,
you know.
100%.
And I think the one thing that started to, because again, now knowing that it's going to be more than 5 issues, because there was a point where issue 3, issue 4, okay, you're leaning too heavy on the satire, and how are you going to land this?
Mm,
And so the pacing felt off. uh that it takes away
mm,
from the story, but now knowing that it's going longer, it completely changes that dynamic.
mhm.
So, I haven't read issue 5 yet. I wanted to read it ahead for today. I didn't get that chance. So I'm looking forward to reading it, and knowing that going in, I probably will go back and reread the series, because I
Yeah.
feel like I owe it that, because it
Mhm.
it is a very well written book. But it
Quality
is
concept and
heavy.
everything, yeah.
It is heavy on the satire, and I wanted, what I was wanting more of, like we got at the end of that first issue, with the menacing robot just fucking killed killed
Mm,
not everyone, but you know what I mean. Like, I was expecting, I think, more of a horror element to it,
hmm,
and we got more political.
mhm.
It became a
Yeah.
political satire,
Mhm,
and which is fine. But knowing or thinking that it was ending at the fifth issue was like, ugh,
yeah,
okay. But now knowing, like I said, now knowing that's going
yeah.
on is okay. I want to reread it, give it its just due, because I'll probably look and think of it in a much different light.
Yeah, and I just wish that that had been, like, conveyed to us sooner because it would've made it. Because like, the whole issue was for me, was the investment in the family, but now it's like,
Yeah,
okay, now it makes sense. Like, now
yeah,
I get why you invested so much time, and then
right.
that
Because
would've bothered me
issue
less.
4 was a humdinger, right? It
Yeah.
ended
Oh,
like,
yeah.
holy
Yes,
shit,
4 was great, and 5 was really good too. I
Yeah.
think it was 2 and 3 where we had our, like, 2 kinda was an issue, and then
The
3 was definitely the
pacing
big
was
one.
the pacing was tough. Was
Mm.
tough on those 2 issues for sure.
Marjorie Finnegan issue 8. We don't have the review copies yet from AWA for the month, so we haven't been able to get a look at this one ahead of time. But that's supposed to be the final issue of it. And Joe and I have kind of, I don't want to say sour, but we just like the kind of went in a direction that we, I don't know if I would even say a direction. Like, it kind of got off a little bit.
It
Like
just
you said,
stalled. It stalled. It was 2 issues too long.
two
Yeah.
issues too long. And then we get the first issue of The Fourth Man by Jeff McComsey this week.
Macomsey, I think, would how you pronounce that. And I'm looking forward to this. I mean, I look forward to every AWA
Of
number one
course.
that comes out. So 3 dead bodies lay in a rural morgue, all murdered in the span of 3 weeks. It's up to 2 detectives from opposite sides of the tracks to determine who put them there, if the murders are linked, and what, if anything, they have to do with a pair of dueling car dealerships. A dark comedy mystery thriller by Jeff McCall. Like,
Oh
this
yeah.
is like, yes, I mean, this is in my wheelhouse, and I think this is,
Diodato's the artist too.
Diodati. I mean, I love his art.
Mm,
The realism in the way he draws, and so, like, this to me, like, screams, this is like prototypical, AWA. Like, this to me kind of screams Devil's Highway. Like,
mhm,
it's gonna be, I think, in that ilk, and Bad Mother, right? Like,
mm,
you could take a really gritty
mm.
crime story. Now you've got some detectives involved, and you've got dueling car dealerships. Like, this just is like that off the wall, AWA full throttle story that I'm very much looking
I'm
forward to.
gonna be giving this one a look for sure too. I'm
Yeah,
with you on that. From IDW, we got Star Trek Mirror War issue 3 and Transformers Best of Optimus Prime, another best of series from them. Makes sense. Titan listed was Cowboy Bebop, which I don't entirely understand that because I think when I was looking through stuff, we were getting Cowboy Bebop 1 from Titan. That the whole thing is a mess.
yeah,
Not Titan, Cowboy Bebop in general, right? Because they got canceled after the first season. I don't know. Anyways, I didn't watch that show. Aftershock. This one actually I'm interested in. Bylines in Blood by Van Jensen and Erica Schultz. The future, the very concept of truth has died. Politicians invent their own facts, and independent newspapers no longer exist. Is this the future or is this now? That's um,
but a
in
boom.
this world. In this world, private detectives serve as Ronin, searching out the hard truths that people are desperate to keep hidden. The best of these is Satya, known as Lady Dick, a former journalist turned gumshoe who runs every lead to the ground. But Satya, Lady Dick, however you want to call her, has just received her hardest case yet. Her old editor has been murdered. I'm very interested in this. I'm
Yeah,
definitely giving this a chance.
I mean, Lady Dick, you're definitely in for sure.
I don't. Okay, Joe. Again, this is kind
New
of
year, new me. New year, new me.
that's what. Yeah. That's one way to put it. I'm trying to be better about like how much I swear and everything because of Mac and Goo. That whole thing. It was a fiasco. But I'm trying to
We're
clean it up
banned in 3 countries.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, let's get serious. We gotta get back. This is our longest what's new ever, and it's time for us to get into the second week of January.